Okay, so I appreciate everyone who was able to join us. And I know that each of you have, I think, just something to share that other fundraisers might benefit from, and some of you might benefit from each other's things to share as well, hopefully. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to start with kind of the rundown on where we're at with, more of the housekeeping stuff. And if it prompts any questions, please just shout them out. It's intended to be interactive, as most of you already know, but just, jump in at any point. Everybody knows who I am, Julie Bowditch, and I'm working on the Cancer Walk this year. And my colleague, Erin Phipps. Erin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. So I work with Julie on the Cancer Walk, and I manage the sponsorships for the event.
And very well, too. And Rich is our committee co-chair. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Rich Carr. It's second year as co-chair of the committee of really dedicated volunteers, and happy to be here and wearing my swag.
I love it. Erin, did you get to see?
It looks great.
Yeah, did you see Sarah and Rich's new gear? They're so
looks awesome.
Yeah.
They look good. They came out really good.
I'm so happy, and they're so easy to work with there too at Northeast. I love them.
And
Sarah,
they're very slimming and complimentary. So I'd recommend you buy 2 of what you were going to buy. It's very, very.
We paid extra for the slimming.
It's working.
I love it. Sarah, do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Sarah. I work for the Absolute Group of Companies here in Worcester, and I sort of head up our team here with all of our employees and their friends and families.
Awesome. Thank you. And Julie Davenport?
I'm Julie. I did not get the UMass Cancer Walk memo of a background or a shirt, so I feel like the odd duck today in this group.
Next time.
But I'm a good friend of Julie's. I've been a participant in the Cancer Walk for, I think, 5 or 6 years, I think since 2014. So I'm just joining as a guest today.
Yep. And Team
Nate the Great. Team Nate the Great.
Yep. So I think you each have sort of your niches of, specialities and creativity and so forth. So I'm excited for each of you to share a little bit about that. As most of you probably know, our July contest obviously is wrapping up today. And that was for every $500 that you raise as an individual fundraiser, you would be entered into a prize drawing for a local gift card package that's worth over $800. So we're really excited to announce the winner next week. That's our first really big fundraising incentive promotion this year. And with that, we will launch our August fundraising incentive, which is for teams, not individuals. And that is for every $1,000 that is raised by the team, you'll be entered into an even much more massive prize package that is obviously tailored towards teams or small groups or splitting up the loot if whatever your team decides to do. So that will be something exciting to look forward to as well. I was able to mail out this week our first team leader face mask mailing, which actually all 3 of you probably, if you haven't received yet, you will soon. So those came out really nice, and we're sharing those with the first 100 team leaders that create a team. So that's obviously new this year because face masks were not an accessory last year, but they are really nice and I'm excited about them. So let us know how they are when you get them. And we're running still all through, this year we're running our t-shirt promotion, which we've upgraded our t-shirts. Northeast promotions that you got your shirts from are making them, designing them, and obviously they'll have our sponsors featured on them and so forth. But we've really upgraded the material this year to a really nice tri-blend, like soft, super wearable shirt. So we're excited that will go to the first 1,000 fundraisers who raise $100 or more, obviously. So we're really excited for that. We'll be ordering those, in the coming weeks when we still have some sponsors rolling in, which is exciting to throw on the shirts. So we're going to hold off a tiny bit and then we'll be mailing those out. And then if anyone has checks or cash that they're collecting, just feel free to shoot me an email or to mail them to our office at 333 South Street in Shrewsbury. But, you know, I think all of you guys are good with that, but just in case anyone, you know, has questions, there was a question last week about PayPal. So we're excited that probably as of next week, we're going to be adding a PayPal donation option. So that should be nice, especially for the virtual year, for people who, you know, if it makes it simpler for people, that's what we want. And Venmo, it looks like the medical school is not ready to partner with quite yet on an audited level. So we're just recommending that if people prefer to Venmo you, I know I've had a few supporters Venmo me, and then I just made the donation like on their behalf on my own page. So that's kind of the best workaround we have for now. But you know, we'll keep you updated. We have a special Volturno pasta class, an at-home virtual pasta class coming up in August. So we'll be sharing more details on that, but anyone and everyone can participate. Doesn't have to be, you know, a Cancer Walk participant, you know, while we welcome those. It can be anyone, family, friends. So look out for that coming up. And then I think that's about it. Oh, and then also today is the last day, July 31st, to nominate the Cancer Walk for Best Fundraiser of Central Mass for the Telegram and Gazette's Best of Central Mass annual, you know, competition. So this is a nomination round. I had to clarify for myself actually earlier this week, but so right now we're just trying to get on the ballot. So all the nominations help. The, you know, groups with the most nominations obviously will find themselves on the ballot, which is in September. So then I'll be coming back and asking everyone for your votes. But this is round one. We'll cross this bridge first. So that's it for like my housekeeping stuff. Thanks for bearing with me, since I know some of that was redundant for some of you. But I wanted to invite Erin if she was willing to share a little bit. We've been talking a lot about matching gift options and how that can really exponentially increase fundraising for individuals, for teams, and so forth. And we think it's something that maybe like not every fundraiser knows about. So Erin had offered to share a little bit more about that. And then you guys can pass it on to teams, or, you know, we'll continue to share about it in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rich, this actually all stemmed from you bringing it up about that company you had talked to with matching gifts. So we've been doing a lot of research about it, and it's totally something that, you know, anybody who gets solicited from their undergrad institution is probably familiar with, because they're always pushing, you know, check this box for your matching gift. Make sure your employer, if you work for a matching gift employer, match your gift. But the Cancer Walk can also benefit from matching gift companies. And unfortunately, our giving software, Classy, it doesn't have, we can't add, you know, the box to check right there, but we did add language right on the website where you're making a gift to say, hey, you can double your donation, check with your benefits department, check with your HR company about matching gifts if you work for an employee matching gift company. We actually, unsolicited, before we got this really up and running this past week, we got our first employee matching gift that somebody took it upon themselves, who works for Quest, to make a gift, and then they took the first steps to fill out the claims paperwork from Quest Diagnostics. And so it's up on our website now, but we're going to start including it in our communications that go out. We've never done this before, so we don't know if it's going to get us $200 extra, $2,000 extra, you know, we'll see. But knowing that it's something that we can work on, something we can include, push out there, and I think the more we talk about it, the more you share it with your teams. You never know until you ask. And I think it's something that doesn't cost anybody any money except your company. So if you work for one of those companies, and there's so many that do, it's a great way to double your donation. And most of them, you don't really need to do too much extra work. But if you have any questions, you can always email the Cancer Walk, and we'll help you walk through the process. And that goes for any of your team members, and we'll include all of that information in the communications as we move forward. But yeah, we're just looking for for new ways to try and get some extra dollars this year. So hopefully, this nets us a little bit extra, and we'll move along with it each year from here too.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. I would say the only thing I would add to that is I think that a lot of companies, like Erin said, offer matching gifts, but not a lot of them talk much about it.
Right.
I don't know, whatever the motivation there is, but so it usually is something you kind of have to seek out as an employee, but oftentimes it is there, especially for larger companies and so forth. So anyway, just something to spread the word on. But thanks, Erin. I think that's important to.
Do you have a list of matching companies?
I'm sorry, you broke up a tiny bit for me. What was that, Rich?
Do we have a list?
A list of companies that match?
I think that's right. Rich, is that what you said? Do we have a list?
That's what I said. I was really broken up there. And I have a list of companies match their employees' charitable contributions, so I can share that. One of the things I thought was unique is it inspired me to ask certain people once I saw the company and remembered I worked for that company. Those folks look at I thought to ask you, but your ability to really have a impact. Would you consider doing? And a lot of times those dollars go unspent. I think it's a great company policy to really want to get out in the community and benefit those organizations need something for employees. So it's a wonderful program. It does get underutilized. So I'll share a list, and anybody who emails Cancer Walk, if they ask, want to see company names, just maybe give them some thoughts about other people I could ask. Welcome.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, I think your connection's a little bit goofy today, but I think we got the gist of it. You're gonna share a list so we can distribute it. And okay, good. Perfect. We appreciate that. We're getting like every other word, so it's kind of like a new language. But I think we got that. Yeah, that would be super helpful. Thank you. Awesome. Well, so I know that Sarah has had her team, she's been leading her team for some time now. And I know they've not only been our business challenge winners, but they also are just very creative. And I know Sarah's, probably the driving force, is my guess, behind keeping the team alive and motivated. And so she had agreed to just share some of her insider tips with us. So we really appreciate that, Sarah.
Of course, no problem. I'll just start with a little background on our team. This is our 14th year walking. We started when a member of the ownership of our company, along with a colleague of mine who's also a family member, we all lost a couple close family members one year, and they just kind of came together and decided they wanted to do something for the community in honor of them. So they joined the walk, and this is their 14th year doing it. I took over as team leader about 5 years ago. And we have actually always consistently virtually raised our funds. With our business being a small business in here, it's tough to get some of the employees the time to do things like, car washes and all of that kind of stuff. But we've been very fortunate in how we share our team donation link. That's kind of our niche. And we send an email blast out to all of our vendors, logistics vendors, any kind of utility vendors that we have. We send it to anyone and everyone. We just ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. And it's done really well for us. We have a number of employees here who share it on their social media, share it with their family, and it's become a really big weekend for us, walk weekend. We all get together, on walk day. We have a big team, and it's time of the year where we can, kind of see our colleagues' families and see their kids growing up and things like that. So it's a lot of fun as just a team building thing for us too. And I think it's important to just kind of stay on all of the employees. I tend to send reminders out on paid weeks. That tends to help a little bit. And it kind of gets them going too. And just sort of things like that. It's been a lot of fun. It's just a fun thing for us to do and to help out.
Thanks. Yeah, we're glad that you enjoy it, and we're so glad that you keep coming back, and that you're working so hard to support I think it was you, Sarah, that said the last time that we had a Zoom, I think it was you that said fundraising for us has really always been virtual.
Yeah.
And that really struck a chord with me, because I think that's important for teams who are apprehensive or whatever this year. Yesterday I spoke with another lovely team leader on the phone, and she had said to me, you know, kind of something to that effect, that, you know, gosh, we're just not sure how to ask or how to approach supporters or whatever. And so I kind of just shared with her your anecdote and just said, you know, fundraising for this event is online. And even though some people are needing to be creative, you know, whether they had a live event, you know, to raise money or whatever, that part, you know, is tricky for sure. But obviously for a lot of teams, like you're sharing, I thought that was so important to say, you know, this is kind of the same gig. The real big difference is going to be on September 13th, you know, as far as teams getting more creative about ways that they can get together or feel like they're together, or, you know, whatever they deem to be the most safe and appropriate for them. You know, and we want to help with that, but we also want to celebrate that, you know, whatever that looks like for you guys. We want to be able to share that, and definitely please take lots of pictures, all of your teams. And we want to definitely still, you know, enjoy that sort of like virtual together time. And on our end, we're trying to create some really exciting programming and stuff too, that everyone can log in at the same time and at least sort of like feel together or be doing the same thing for part of the day, whether you go out into the neighborhood or to a park or on your treadmill or whatever it looks like after that. But, you know, so we're still trying to keep that going. So we appreciate teams like yours who sort of recognize that, like, the need is not going away, and you won't get supported if you don't ask. And I think people still really, really care about this. You know, I don't think that's going anywhere. So, yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. I thought that was really a relevant thing to say, and especially this year. Yeah, thank you. And if there's anything we can do to help your team or to, you know, acknowledge them, give them a shout out or something, please let us know, because we would love to do that. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Welcome, Brooke. I think I see your, I don't know if hopefully you can hear us. Maybe we can't hear you. But anyway, we're glad you're here.
out there.
Oh, hi. And I know that Julie has her own kind of creative fundraising techniques over the years. Julie and I have worked together on, I won't tell you how many different projects, but a lot of them have included fundraising efforts. And Julie is kind of this, I consider her like this organic fundraising prodigy.
There you go.
Oh, good. Hi, Brooke.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you all?
Good. So glad you're here.
Thank you. I've never done this before. This is my first time.
Oh, you're a natural.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
You're doing it right. You're outside. It's such a nice day. Oh,
Oh, yes. I'm outside with my little puppy.
oh, yay. Good. We were just, everyone's kind of just sharing their tips and tricks this year, or what might have worked for them this year or past years. So Julie Davenport was just about to share. She's had a team for about the last 6 years. And I was just saying, she's just really emerged as this she's not a fundraiser for her full-time job, but she is very good at it. And I know that earlier this year for a different project, Julie had to really pivot to something really creative and different. And so I had asked her if she wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about that and anything else that might, you know, have worked for her in the past or ideas, because she's very creative with that stuff.
Okay.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Julie. Yeah, I guess I'll just do a quick background on our team since Sarah did that. Kind of on the opposite end, I've been involved in the Cancer Walk for the past 5 or 6 years, more on a personal level. So it's a personal family team that we created in honor of my uncle that unfortunately lost his battle. And it's just one of those things that we decided to do to kind of honor him because he was treated at UMass. So some years we have 30 people that walk, and some years we have 5, but we always make sure that we have some sort of presence just as a way to like support UMass but also honor him. So it's really good, and we're always excited to be a part of it, whether it's in person or virtually. I think last year we actually ended up doing our own virtual walk on a different date because a lot of people couldn't make it for the actual date. So it's kind of ironic that you guys ended up doing all virtual.
You didn't know you were
this
actually
year.
ahead of the curve on that one.
What we were predicting, yeah. But I mean, as far as fundraising goes, some of the things that I've done in the past, whether it's for the Cancer Walk or if it's for something else that I've done, is just try to start small and get creative. I would say the easiest and simplest thing to start with for people that are overwhelmed with fundraising is, one, not to be afraid to ask people that are your close family and friends, and to ask them for small amounts. So usually when I have a team, I ask them all to ask 4 people for a $25 donation. So depending on how many people you have in your team, $25 is a relatively easy thing to ask for. And if you can get 4 people to say yes, you've raised $100. And if you have 10 people on your team, you know, there's $1,000 raised for a great cause. And it's really not a lot of heavy lifting to try and do something like that. So that's a kind of simple, easy recommendation. Other things that I've done recently due to, you know, COVID and virtual and things like that have been a virtual trivia night. I hosted a virtual trivia night, I think in May, when everybody was still on like way lockdown. And it was just kind of a fun way. I found a free platform, created the questions, and basically just said, you know, give me a donation that you feel comfortable with, anywhere from $20 to $40, and I'll send you the code and you can join me for trivia. So ended up doing 2 of them. I probably had about 30 or so participants between the 2 nights and raised a few $100. You know, nothing big, but it was a couple hours of my time. And actually a lot of people really told me that they enjoyed it afterwards. They had messaged me and said they really liked it. Because it was something different for people to do, you know, especially when everyone was cooped up during that time. There was no patio dining or anything, like we said, at that point. So that was great. Another thing I've done recently is what I called squares or chances. I know people have done a variety of something like this in the past, but it's basically similar to football squares, but instead of just buying a random square for $20, all of the squares had different values. I had 10 $5 squares, 10 $10 squares, 10 $15 squares, all the way down to $50. And I ended up selling out all the squares. And what I think was really fun was, after I sold them out, I did an actual Facebook Live to pull the drawing to kind of keep everybody engaged. And we raised $2,000 for that one effort. So things like that. I know I've had friends that have done actual football squares in the past. I think Julie has done that quite a few times to raise funds, and that's always something fun that people can do. I know it's hard right now because sports are just back. But those are just kind of the ways that I try to do things that you feel as though you're getting something back when you're asking someone to give a donation of $10, $20, $25, $50. They're getting something in return. Whether it's a trivia night or a chance at a prize or something. And it's just kind of a way that I've been able to personally be successful in getting people like to donate for causes like this. So if I missed anything, Julie, tell me, but.
No, thanks, Jules. That was perfect. That's exactly what, you know, I was thinking about as far as your some of your past successes, but I think your point is a really good one, that sometimes people like to feel like or I shouldn't say that, it's easier to ask, would you participate in this, than it is to say, give me $20, give me $50, whatever. But if you say like, oh, you have a chance of winning something, or, you know, there's going to be a trivia night, or, you know what, people might just make a donation anyway. We don't, you know, I'm sure, Julie, you probably experienced that, where people are like, oh, I can't make it, but, you know, I'd love to contribute or whatever.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of like a little bit of a softer ask than saying, you know, just give me money. And I think that people love the concept of like, I might win something, you know? And it's funny, like the something could be like sometimes like nothing massive, but it's just like that idea of being a winner. I know I'm a sucker for it. um, but Julie made it so fun. Like she said, she did a Facebook Live drawing and people were on there watching and they were like commenting and like cheering her on, and it was so fun. So she just made it super interactive. And the other thing that Julie did, and I don't even know if she realizes that this is what she does, but she doesn't let people forget. And it's not in an annoying way. It's not in a in your face way, but it's just persistent enough that I know sometimes I'll see somebody will post the PN Mass Challenge or, something else that they're doing that I really think is wonderful, but I'm in the middle of something or whatever and I forget. And then when they post it again, that's my reminder. So you don't know who is seeing, your social media stuff and saying, oh, mental note, I want to do that later. And then like you're reminding them with your next post or whatever. So like I always tell people, just stay persistent because people are so distracted. Like social media is wonderful for this, but it's so distracting, so I feel like unless, you just have to stay on people. And plus social media is a nice way to kind of like be indirect about reminding people. Like you're not calling people out necessarily, but you're just saying like, hey, we're still here, like doing big things. So I think it's really effective and something that Julie really strikes that balance on. So thanks, Julie, for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Brooke, definitely don't want to put you on the spot, but did you have any questions or like stuff that your team's doing that you wanted to share or just anything at all? We're all just kind of, talking out stuff and answering questions. So not putting you on the spot, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been pretty much like laying low, maybe more so because now that I'm back doing chemo, I haven't really been able to do much, but I actually were just talking to a couple of my girlfriends yesterday, some of my teammates, and we were talking about the fundraising, and pretty much what I've been doing is just posting the link, where they donate, and just, I'll write some comments or whatever, or I'll update them with what's going on with my treatment and my, progress with everything. And, I just let them know like, hey, we're this many weeks away from, the walk. But so I was talking with my girlfriends yesterday, and my friend was saying how like one of her friends does like this bingo for Tupperware thing or whatever. So we were talking about that, and I just didn't know like how all of that stuff worked. And going with like what Julie was saying, with fundraising, doing like trivia or anything like that, like how do you where do you get the money from or the prizes from? Like how do you start that? Because I would love to start doing something like that, because I don't want to just keep, asking people for money. Like I would rather entice them with something,
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good idea. Well, I know there's multiple ways and others might have things to add into this from things they've either seen or done. I know that the UMass Medical School Cancer Research Office right now, they're running, actually today I think is the last day to place orders, but they're running a pampered chef party. And so it's actually, I put it on our Facebook page yesterday. So if anyone wanted to glance at it, I had put up the flyer that they had shared, but I think it's maybe not exactly what you're talking about, but when you had said Tupperware, it made me think sometimes the like representatives or salespeople for these types of places, they'll say, oh, I'll host a party for you. And then instead of doing like host rewards or whatever, they'll give a percentage of the sales to your team. So I've seen several of those go really well. Because again, like people are more apt, I think, to like, oh, sure, I'll buy something if like part of it's going to a good cause, like as if I needed to justify my pampered chef purchase. But I think that is motivating to people to participate, and I think you can get supporters that like you may not have tapped into otherwise. But outside of like that kind of multi-level marketing sales type of opportunity, I think, and Julie may have something to add to this too, but I've had a lot of luck, again, sports aside, because they're a little spotty this year. But when I ran the marathon last year for in memory of my uncle had ALS. And so I had to get super creative with fundraising for that. And Squares was huge, like Julie said. So what I did was when I sold Squares, and you can kind of do it without an event too, the way Julie did. But what I did was I solicited some little donations or whatever from local business owners, or, local businesses, and just kind of collect some gift cards so that you have some prizes. A lot of times that's something that's an easier ask, surprisingly easy in a lot of cases, because, well, for one thing, they give you a $25 gift card. The last time I spent $25 in a restaurant, I couldn't even tell you. So, they're smart. They know you take that $25 gift card, you come in with your friends, you spend $100 or whatever it is. Great. Maybe they just got a new customer, but they also just got business, right? So that's like an easy ask for them. They also have, a certain percentage of their budget that they need to donate, most places anyway, for tax purposes. So not that they're not generous and thoughtful and wonderful, but it also, it's also a business move on their end. It also gets them promotion, because the more people you talk about, oh, so-and-so, the prize is this, and you're promoting them, at the same time. So I definitely suggest doing that. It can be anything from like your hair salon to, restaurant you go to. And, right now things are semi-stable. So, it's not like the worst time. Obviously we do have to be a little bit sensitive about places that, could be struggling and stuff like that. But, they want to get business in the door, obviously. So we've seen a lot of success with that. In fact, that's how we're doing these prizes that we're doing right now with this big July promotion and then the August one. All these businesses said, we want to contribute to that. That's something we want to put our name on and something we want to help with. So you can always use our tax ID number since it's benefiting UMass. So if you ever need that, if a business ever asks, just let me know. It's sometimes part of their like tax process. So occasionally they'll ask depending on how they do their books. But that's something I can always help with. And I can even provide you with like a sort of template if you wanted, of like an email or a letter or something that you could give to a business to explain, like, this is what I'm doing, this is what it benefits, like just kind of legitimizes like the asks. So they're not just like, oh, they get 1,000 million asks, all the time.
Yeah.
Donate. But you're like, oh no, this is going to like a real nonprofit, and this is the impact you can be part of, So let me know if I can help with any of that.
Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah, but I think that you're right. I think you're right on the money by saying that people, like, it's just an easier thing to say, oh, be part of my bingo event, than say, like, but I do think that your approach is obviously very personal. And I think, the thing that we keep hearing over and over is, like in our industry, I guess, kind of is like, the pandemic is huge right now, obviously, as far as a topic, as far as a fundraising, option. But just because you have a pandemic does not mean that these other things like are any less important. They're not going away. We have our own team at UMass here saying to us, we're very concerned because sometimes people who may have like early symptoms or need to be seen for whatever reason, they're like not comfortable going to the doctor, or they're like, oh, wait a little while. And they're like, that's really concerning because we're going to see more advanced cases and different situations like that. So I think that that's part of the story that we all need to tell, right? Is like, so that people see, not only everyone knows cancer hasn't gone away, but they see like, this is almost like more urgent than it ever has been, because we really need it to stay funded. We need to keep that funding up. And the researchers here, they depend on this fundraising. This is how they make their budget. This is how they plan the work they're going to be doing over the next year or years. So it's a huge deal, for their work and for the progress they're making in research and clinical trials. So I think like that to me right away says like, if that's a story I can tell and help people see like the need, I do think that is kind of, I think it gives people a sense of urgency. It gives people a sense of, and like you just said, Brooke, the countdown's on, right? Like this coming Sunday, we're at 6 weeks
Yeah.
till the event day, which like the summer's flying and it's crazy. But that having like a deadline, I find helps people as well. Saying like, even though obviously we'll accept, donations after that date, but saying like,
Yeah.
oh, 6 weeks until the event, that kind of thing, I think is really, can be very compelling to people.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, I'm
Yeah.
happy to chat with you more if you have like specific ideas you want to talk through or anything.
Yeah, I'm just definitely like not the most creative person, um and it's a little harder obviously for everybody now because so many people are out of work and everything, and then I just feel horrible like asking people for money. But like you said, like I stress to them, like even though there's a pandemic, like cancer isn't going anywhere, it's still going to be around. And I try to use me and be like, I don't want to be on chemo forever. Like, we need to find something, a cure or some clinical trials or something to help people out. So
Could
I
I
try to use.
ask you guys for me?
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
I'll email some idea around it.
Your connection's funky a little bit, Rich.
Yeah, I'll email.
Okay. Yeah, or throw it in the chat even if you want. Sorry, you're like just kind of starting and stopping.
A little spot.
Yeah, but I think that you make good points, Brooke, because the other thing that like I kind of have been sharing with people too that I talk to is I wish that I had said this first, but I didn't, and that's so fine. But it is good advice. It's that like people will not throw money at us. They just won't. So unless you ask them, give them an opportunity, find these creative ways that you guys are all talking about, even people who have supported you every year, they may not, if you don't bring it up, post it, whatever, they may think, oh, she took the year off, or they may just not know, or they may forget. But, and it, like you say, some people are out of work, things are tough, the economy is struggling, but some people aren't out of work, and some people are fine. And I think everyone wants to support you. And if they can, they will, and if they can't, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna offend them to say, oh, we wanted to include you in this. Can't this year? No worries,
Yeah.
But they're definitely not going to contribute if you don't ask them to. So that's always my mantra, because I just say, if you can't, it's certainly not going to hurt my feelings. Erin and I get no for an answer for a living, so it doesn't hurt our feelings. But for every yes you get, it's worth however many no's.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and even like so like last year was the first time that I did the cancer walk, and I was the one who spoke, and I'm definitely like a very socially awkward person. Like I don't speak in at all. But I just like I've been through
you did a great job.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But like everything that I've been through for like the past 3 years, like if I could just get one person to go to the doctor and get themselves checked out, like it was all worth it. Because it's tough. It's definitely tough. It's definitely not, as most of it's not a life you want to be living. It's not what you expected your life was going to turn out to be. So if I could just reach one person to bring themselves to go to, and especially with my cancer, because it's not the most glamorous, it's not something that people want to talk about, it's embarrassing, but it needs to be talked about, and it needs to be brought to everybody's attention that what your symptoms are, and it happens, and go see a doctor. And that's one of the things like I try to do too, like with my social media, I'm sharing my experiences with all of my friends, and maybe some people aren't my friends, like on Instagram, but and as embarrassing as it is for me, I just try to get it out there so I can at least help somebody else.
Yeah, I think that people can appreciate your vulnerability, right? Like this is personal for you. This isn't just saying, oh, fight cancer. This is saying, this is my journey. This is my life. And that definitely resonates with people. I think, I I think, so what Rich wanted to share, and he put it in the chat, luckily, so I can sort of share it for him, but he had said, Brooke, if you made a short video, even just saying what you just said to us, how genuine you are, it really shines through. It just, my gosh, I feel like I want to go donate to your page right now. You know, like just from listening to you and talking to you, it's just, you're so genuine. Your story is so real and so compelling and so, you know, it's happening right now. You're living it. So I think that, you know, what Rich had shared was admitting it's hard to ask and acknowledging that some people can't give. I think it's okay to say all of that. Like what you shared is on point. You know, just saying, if you can't, that's okay, because half of the battle is awareness, right? And like, that's your message. It's saying, if you can't give, at least I hope you heard my message. And if you can, thank you, you know? So I agree with Rich. He said video and pictures are highly effective, and that's true. Content, we all know that like social media is driven now through like visual content. So having a video of yourself, it doesn't have to be anything, you know, sophisticated or you know, scripted or anything like that. Rich, in fact, I hope he doesn't mind being an example, but he shared, so his company put on a match, which a lot of you probably saw, for the week after the 4th of July. Ended up raising just about $40,000. It was remarkable. First time we've ever done it. I share that to say Rich was a good enough sport to make us a video to send to all those donors to thank them for being part of that effort. And that, again, I don't mind putting Rich on the spot. Actually, I don't need to apologize for that. That video we emailed out had the best reactions that we've had for any email campaign in so long, that the company we used to send the video, I don't even know if Rich knows this, contacted us and said, can we use your video, Rich's video, as an example to other organizations that that they are their vendors, you know, their clients. Can we share that with them as an example of like something that was so well done, and we can prove that it was well done by how well it was received, you know? So the data showed that it was like so great that they were like, we want to use you guys as an example. And so that was obviously a huge compliment to Rich. But like his video was super short, super organic. He was just like, this is who I am. Thank you, whatever. But I think it just goes to prove his point that videos, people watch them. And, you know, we're all inundated with emails these days, and oh my gosh, like the internet is just wild, and we're online all day, a lot of us with work and stuff. But I do agree with Rick. If you are willing to record like a little video or something, I think that would be very compelling.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I could do something like that.
Yeah, and
I
you know,
think we
again,
all need to get Rich's signature before he goes famous and forgets us little people.
that's right. Nanette, look at what Sarah and Rich are wearing.
Yay! Mine are all dirty.
No, those are their brand new ones from the merchandise store.
Oh, nice. I'm going to have to go there then. Then I won't have to do laundry. Uh-oh. Rich is going to get something else he bought.
This one, orange.
Oh, I like that bright color.
There's so many colors in the merchandise store. Nice.
All I got is my pom-pom.
We love them.
Oh, team!
But anyway, just to, Brooke, I didn't want to cut you off your story at all, but just if there's any way that we can help, please let me know. I'll put actually you have my email, right?
Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat, but I think everybody has it. Or you can always email cantorwalk@umassmed.edu as well. And if you have ideas that you're just starting to form, or like you're like, what if we did this, but I'm just not sure how it would work, let us know. And also we love promoting like things that teams are doing. So like I said, that Pampered Chef event that the Cancer Research Office team is doing, they usually do a bake sale, like a live bake sale. And obviously that's no bueno right now. So they decided to do some other fun things, and they're they're just like emailing, their friends and their colleagues and stuff. And they post on social, and I, repost it for them. And so I'm happy to talk through those types of ideas with anybody, anytime. So yeah, everybody's got, honestly, like, so many good ideas. This is why I thought like these kinds of sessions could be interesting, because I think, one person says one thing, then it brings you to like a new idea, and we fully support stealing ideas. That's kind of the point, right? Or recreating, the concepts. But yeah, I know it can be tough to come up with like something this year that works online and for your supporters and stuff. So just anytime you want to, brainstorm or whatever, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's awesome. I figured, we're really not that far away from it. So I figured I'll start something right now, see how it goes, test the waters with it. And that way next year I can be like a little more prepared and be a little more knowledgeable on, what people are into, what they're going to respond to, what's going to work. And then next year, hopefully, be so much more better.
I will say, Brooke, people do respond to the personal stories.
Yeah.
And it's, you send it out to everybody, you ask them to share your story, and people do respond.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. And I think, like, don't undersell yourself, because even the ideas that you're sharing and like what you're sharing with us verbally is, I think you are creative, and I think you are a compelling speaker. And, we heard you speak last year, and like Erin said, you were awesome. And even just talking to you today, it has been great. So I think, you might be better at it than you're giving yourself credit for, to be honest.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. But I don't want you to feel like you're in it by yourself either. So like, if you ever just wanted to bounce ideas around or anything like that.
And it's not too late, Brooke. My page doesn't go up until mid-August.
Why is that, Nanette? Do you mind sharing with the group?
No, that was the day my son was diagnosed. So that's when we put it up that day. Just kind of our ritual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I do think like I don't think, I know from, the history, a lot of people do give within the last 6 weeks, 4 weeks, just because it feels like it's coming up soon, and, it's happening, and it's harder to forget and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think you're right. You're right in the sweet spot for sure.
It's never too late. I do remember one year I was behind the 8 ball, put it up 2 weeks before the cancer walk, and raised the most money I'd raised. So people
not that we encourage Nanette to wait until 2 weeks before. But it is true, because I think people have that sense of urgency, when it's getting closer and stuff. So I think
well, they do it when it's fresh on their mind. So, even though you send it out, say 6 weeks before, it's great to send it out again and again every week or every couple of weeks to remind people that they, have probably just forgotten to make the donation at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but your personal story does work. So feel free to share it if you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Definitely. Does anyone have anything to add, like just something that someone said prompted another idea or a question or anything? I don't want to keep people, if all your ideas are out there, but I also don't want to cut anyone off either. If you have anything else to share, Sarah and Rich.
You're 8 minutes back to create your page.
That's or draft a new social media post or something. Sarah and Rich are live models today for our merchandise store, which has a ton of stuff on it. Everything from like joggers and gym shorts and tons of t-shirt and tank tops and golf stuff. And
so have you guys found that the clothing is true to size?
Yeah, for the most part, I got a men's medium on this because I like my long sleeves a little bit bigger, and it is. I ordered shorts too. I just got them today, so I haven't been able to try them on. We're back in the office, but I'll let you know.
Oh, yay.
It is funny when you wear, I had my shirt on in public this weekend, and it was amazing how many cashiers commented on, I was out in Amherst, and they wondered where the event was and who was sponsoring the event. So it's great advertising.
For sure, yeah. Rich is having some audio issues, but he wanted to share to answer your question, and that the t-shirts are really tight in the bicep area.
I may not have that problem, Rich.
Oh, well, we're glad you guys are rocking our merch. Awesome.
I do like the color though, Rich.
Great.
And if anybody wants the Zoom backgrounds that Erin and I have, I'll be happy to email them around. And we also have Facebook profile frames that I'm going to be sending around too. We have a whole bunch of versions of them. So on your Facebook profile picture, and they have like the whatever little frames. So we had a bunch of those designs. So I'll send those around too. So
Ooh, I want that.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And then I want you to do it for me.
No.
That's what you have kids for.
They're all left me.
Yeah. Yeah, they look really
Thank you,
good.
everybody, for what you're doing. We do really appreciate it. I'm sorry I was late to the meeting, but I want to give everybody a bell ring. Team.
In case you needed your afternoon second wind, that's what Nanette's here for.
Yes.
I agree. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time today, but more, even more so, I know all the time that you're taking to spread the word and fundraise and be ambassadors for the mission. So it means everything. The event doesn't exist without you guys. So thank you so much, really. And I say it, and I'll say it a million times, but we're here. So if anybody needs anything, you have a question, a supporter asks you a question that you don't know the answer to, or like Erin was talking about the matching gifts, just email us, call us. We're here. So, we're happy to help any way we can, brainstorming ideas, sharing your ideas. So please let us know.
And enjoy your weekend.
I know
So
it's nice out there.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.